and the other is a chisel. A fish and a chisel. Now the fish was pronounced nar, and the chisel is pronounced mur. Narmer. This is the man who's in the palace. So that's how we know the king is named Narmer, from fish chisel. So another thing to pick up from the Narmer palette is, I think if you all gathered, it's a picture of a fish, it's a picture of a chisel, but we're not talking about fishes and chisels. Hieroglyphs are not phonetic. They're not just phonetic. They're not just pictographic. They're mixtures. See, everybody thinks at first hieroglyphs are all just picture writing. No, some are, some aren't. Then other people may jump to the conclusion, well, they're phonetic. No, they're not just phonetic. They're a mixture. In this case, these two hieroglyphs represent sounds. They are phonetic. And Narmer is our king. So we've got Narmer wearing the white crown, smiting. Now, on the same side of the palette, we see a falcon. And the falcon has a captive, who looks like the guy that Narmer was smiting, with a ring through his nose. And the falcon's holding the string. So he's got this guy by the nose, literally. Now the falcon is the god Horus. And throughout Egyptian history, the pharaoh will be called the Horus on earth. So in the Narmer palette, we are establishing another tradition that the pharaoh is going to be associated with the falcon god Horus. So we've got Narmer as a falcon holding the enemy through a ring through the nose. He is smiting him with a mace. Narmer is capturing the north. That's only one side of the palette. Flip it over, and you've got the conclusion of your story. What's going on the other side of the palette? Well, on the other side of the palette, we have Narmer again. And even better, in front of him, right in front of him, is a chisel and a fish. He's named. That's his name, Narmer. But this time, he's not wearing the white crown. He's wearing the red crown. He has conquered the king of the north, and he's wearing his crown. Narmer is the first king of Upper and Lower Egypt. Egypt is now united under one ruler. Narmer is shown in a procession. He's walking in a procession. Now, one of the things you spot right away on the Narmer palette is how big Narmer is. He is twice as large as anyone else on the palette. This is another tradition started on the Narmer palette that is going to continue for 3,000 years. It's called hierarchical proportions. What it means is, the more important the guy, the bigger he is. And Narmer is way bigger than anybody else. So we've got Narmer, much bigger, in a procession. In front of him, right in front of him, is a little figure, a man, much smaller. And he's kind of hunched over. It's a strange posture. It's almost as if he's carrying a weight. And there are a couple of hieroglyphs behind him. And what they say is, really, it's early hieroglyphs for vizier. He is the second in charge. It shows that Narmer has come with his assistant, a vizier. And the reason he's hunched over is, if you look very closely at that Narmer palette, he's wearing a strange garment. He is wearing a leopard skin. That is a sign of authority. And what he has to do, because he's wearing a leopard skin, which is both heavy and not easily tailored, is he's holding it on. That's why he's walking like this. So you've got Narmer with his vizier. They're marching in a procession. You have people with banners, pennants, signs of areas, right? And they're walking towards a group of people who have been beheaded, and their hands are tied behind their backs. Right? Narmer has conquered, and he is showing what happens to the enemy. Now, maybe most important for the Narmer palette, maybe the most important feature on it, is right beneath this scene is another scene of two mythological animals. They look like leopards with necks that are even longer than giraffes. And the necks are intertwined, forming a circle. Right? Forming a circle. Now, I think that the circle is where the cosmetics were ground. I think that's your smooth spot where you could put your fat and your pigment, grind it, and you'd put it on the statue. But I think the intertwined necks of the two animals represents the joining of Upper and Lower Egypt. I mean, this is, in a sense, Egypt's declaration of